This is going to be, unlike a senator, a more abbreviated talk. I don't want that vote at 8 o'clock tonight to come one short here. Someone was in Litchfield here talking. I'll tell you, and I want you to know, Audrey, I went to Harry Reid and I said, listen, Mr. Leader, you may want to vote at 8 o'clock, but I'm going to be in Litchfield. He did it for Audrey. I'll tell you, even Harry Reid has learned you don't mess around with Audrey. You move mountains, Audrey. We may need you, in fact. I may bring you down to Washington and convince some people to vote differently and along the way. Well, listen, if I had any sense, I'd just say thanks and sit down. I mean, Dan, thank you, my dear friend, and Nancy and Dick. I missed Dick's talk, but I gather he was very helpful and supportive, and I'm appreciative of that. And all of you, Jim, my dear friend, my former colleague in the House. You've been introduced properly. I hope you have been.
I introduced you, but
you're all right. So here as well, and all of you have come out on a Saturday afternoon, and I appreciate it very much. I just left all the town chairs and elected representatives in the 1st Congressional District this morning, and again had the same problem, Audrey, wondering whether or not we'd be voting all weekend. So I'll leave here and fly down, and then tonight, if you're wondering why at 8 p.m. we're on C-SPAN, of course the better question is, what the hell are you doing on Saturday night watching C-SPAN? Troubled people we have. But I've been asked by the leader to give the closing remarks tonight on health care. And I appreciate I won't be wearing my woolly Connecticut sweater there. I'll have a coat and tie on. I want you to know. Jerry, good to see you. Jerry Noonan as well, a great pal and friend, former member of the state legislature. And obviously a big moment for our country today. And I'll be back again tomorrow in the state, the full day tomorrow in New Haven and Hartford, and then here on Monday as well. And tonight, after we finish, by the way, when I finish the votes on the health care debate at 8:30, 8:45 tonight, I have all the members of the Banking Committee meeting to try and again get our staffs to work over this break here on modernizing and reforming the financial regulatory structure of the country. So it doesn't end tonight with just the health care vote before they leave for the Thanksgiving break. So a lot of work, a lot going on. And I'm going to miss terribly Ted Kennedy tonight. Dan, I thank you for mentioning it. This is I even get a hard time to talk about him. I miss him so much. What a champion and a fighter he's been for so many years. And not to have him in the Senate tonight, it's just, I can't believe we're going to start a debate that he's cared about for as long as he stepped foot in the United States Senate. And so tonight I'll think of him being there in many ways. And I was asked last winter, as you know, by Teddy to take over the Health Committee and then to marshal the efforts over the spring and summer to complete the 50% of this bill which came out of the committee that I marked up in June and July. Longest markup in the history of that committee. For those of you who follow markups of a bill, took 5 weeks, 23 different sessions. 300 amendments were offered over that period of time. When people say it wasn't bipartisan, 161 of the 300 amendments that we accepted in the bill were Republican amendments offered by members of that committee, and still not a one of them had the courage to stand up and vote for a health care bill that they had already written a good part of it. So, look, about the folks outside here. First of all, I carry, as all of you know, I teased, Robert C. Byrd 25 years ago gave me a copy of the United States Constitution, and I carry it with me every day of my life. He's my seatmate, by the way, in the Senate. Celebrated the other day the longest serving member of Congress in the history of the United States. And I want you to know this. I would defend with my life their right to be outside here. I want you to know that. I would defend with my life. And, I'm not sure they do the same for me, but I have a different element. But it's America. It's what we stand for. And while we're talking about health care and financial reforms, we've also got, it was 64 years ago yesterday, November 20th, 1945, that a 36-year-old lawyer from Connecticut started to prosecute 21 defendants at Nuremberg with my father, and raised 6 children to understand the value of the rule of law, that we're a nation of laws. And we stand and we fight for our principles and values, including the right of free speech and freedom of assembly, and that's what this is about in so many different ways. And look, this is a tough time. I don't need to tell anybody in the room, and I'm not talking about a tough time for me. The least important person on a ballot, I would say, on election day is the candidate. The most important people are the ones who hopefully show up or don't show up in what happens to their lives as a result of the people we choose. This is not a horse race. It's not an athletic contest where the battles are over with when the results come in on a first Tuesday after a first Monday in November. The real battles begin the next day and the weeks after that and the months after that in terms of whether or not we're going to have people elected at the local, state, and national level who will not forget the needs of average citizens of our country. And that's what this is about this evening. And that's why an awful lot of them are out there. It's not about dump Dodd. It's about dump health care, dump financial reform, dump jobs, dump a government that stands up for people, dump the Constitution in too many ways. That's what they're standing up for out there, with all due respect. I just happen to be a vehicle for them to talk about it. But rather than stand out there and say we shouldn't do health care, and we shouldn't do financial reforms, and we shouldn't do a lot of other things, they'll sit there and try and personify it. If they can demean me, belittle me, get people to be angry at me, then they think they can win the battles when it comes to doing something about these issues that compel our attention and our efforts to make this a better and a stronger country and a safer world in which we live. And that's what's at stake here. There's no single member of any political party or office who is indispensable. No one, I hear. The question is whether or not we're going to send people to office who will continue these fights and to make that kind of a difference. I'm not perfect, Lord knows. I've made my mistakes, and I know, about over 36 years in public life. But I know every morning I get up and I think and do the best I can to bring together in a difficult legislative process results that will make a difference in people's lives. It's what Dan Malloy has done for 14 years as a mayor of the city of Stamford. It's what Nancy Wyman has done for years, whether it's our comptroller or other jobs she's had. It's what Dick Blumenthal has done for years as our attorney general. And what so many of you have done here at a local level, getting up every day trying to make a difference for our country. This is our watch. It's over with very quickly. Whether it's this year or some future year, it ends very quickly. And the issue is, what are we doing on our watch, so to speak, at a time like this? We know what our parents or grandparents did back a generation and a half ago when confronted with problems far more grave than the ones we're dealing with, and they stood up and made tough decisions. Only 12 members of Congress in 1965, Republicans, voted for Medicare. Only 12 out of 535. Think what the country would be like today if we didn't stand up and provide that safety net for older Americans. How many stood up on the Civil Rights Act? Do you think we would have elected a Barack Obama? If we not passed the Civil Rights Act, what kind of a country would we be? Had there not been courageous people who stood up and made a difference in 1964. And you get on down that long list. Look, we're not just an athletic team or some fraternal organization where we pay dues to be a member of something. We have made a common commitment to each other as Democrats because we share a set of values and principles in stark contrast to the opposition we face today. I wouldn't have used the word stark 10 years ago because there were a lot of people I served with who were moderate Republicans with whom you could deal very well, time and time again. I can count 2 today in the United States Senate that I would put in that category as moderate, thoughtful Republicans. There is a stark difference in how we look at our country and the world in which we live. So this is a lot more than about me, about whether or not I'm going to win or lose an election. It's about whether or not we can get a universal national health care system in place to stop the fear. That's what this is all about.